Hello everybody. Today I'm going to show you how you're going to get faster with the Rubiks Cube using Fridrich method. What I'm going to teach you is to look OLL and to look PLL. So I'm going to teach you some of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cross cases you can do for OLL. The first one I'm going to teach you is, this is what I call a cross fish or cross-eyed fish. So it's kind of like this, like it's got the two eyes and it's got a cross on the top with two corners already oriented, and the algorithm goes like this. There you go. The next case looks like this, similar to the first case I already showed you. It's got the cross with the two corners flipped, but instead of the corners being on the side like this, they're in front like this. They're in front like this. Don't ignore my little corner flip that I did. And the algorithm goes like this. The next case I'm going to show you has two corners already flipped, but they're, instead of being next to each other, they're diagonal from each other, and you still got that cross. And you've got these corners kind of flipped like this, and the algorithm goes like this. Very similar to the second case. I know this seems like a very popular algorithm, is this one right here, with one corner flipped, and it's got one corner in front of you when you have that corner oriented already on the left side. This is called the Soon algorithm, and this is one of the most popular OLLs that's out there because it's mainly used in some people's beginner's method. And the algorithm, if you don't already know it, goes like this. Okay, here's one that people don't usually know. Is you've got what looks like a Soon in the corner, but the corner isn't facing you. When you have this, you turn it around like this, right here. This is called an anti-Soon, or as I like to call it, the imposter Soon. And it goes like this. It's the Soon backwards. The next one I'm going to show you has no corners already oriented, so it's just a bare cross on the top. So when you have this and you have two pairs of headlights, you're going to do an algorithm that goes like this. Notice the excessive use of RURIDI. This is the last and final cross case I'm going to show you for OLLs. After this, you can go out and start exploring, and I'll post some different websites to go to for OLLs that are really helpful that you can learn from. But here's the last cross OLL case. It looks like the last one I just showed you, only it has one pair of headlights. Headlights, yeah. And then it's got two flipped corners like this. Instead of having the yellow right here, they're kind of flipped, kind of like the first case I showed you. So it's got headlights and it's got kind of like fish-eyed. If you want to hold the headlights to the left, and you want to do an algorithm like this, very similar to the last one. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is to look PLL, and this is my version of to look PLL. Basically, you're going to want to solve either the corners first, or you're going to want to solve the edges first. I would very much recommend solving the corners first, and there's a very easy way of doing that. Find headlights after you've done your OLL step, or your to look OLL step. Find headlights, put them in the back, and do this corner cycling algorithm that I found that you can also use for regular PLL. And it goes like this. After you've done that step, you can see it has all of the edges, well, all the corners right. One face might be solved, and then there will probably be 3 that you have to switch around, or maybe 4 that you have to switch around. And, yeah. Well, and if, say, you don't have any headlights, like if you don't have any headlights here at all, I'll pretend that I don't have those. Just do that cycle algorithm, and you'll eventually find a pair of headlights. So, like, if you find something like this, I actually know this, but I'm not going to do it for you. If you don't have a pair of headlights, just do that algorithm until you have a pair of headlights. Then put them in the back, and then you have your corners solved, and all you have to do is your edges now. Now I'm going to show you the what I'm thinking are the 1, 2, 3, 4 algorithms for solving the corners. The first one, you'll notice that you have a face solved, and when you have the face solved, if you put it in the back, you'll notice that you have to put this edge over, you have to bring this edge over to the left side. Like, this is orange side, and this is a red edge, so you have to bring it over to here. When you have to do that, you do an algorithm like this. Here is an exact opposite of that case. When you have your your OLL and you see that you have a face solved, but you look to the right and there's not your edge that you have to put over there. Instead, it's over here, and you have to bring it to the right side of the cube. When you have to do that, you do an algorithm like this. The next one is where you have no faces solved at all, except for the black and the yellow. Here you have to switch them in kind of a cross pattern. So when you do that, you do an algorithm that uses a lot of the middle slice, and usually when you don't use the middle slice, it can be kind of a tough algorithm to learn. So try looking for an algorithm that uses this middle slice right here. So when you find this, you're gonna want to do an algorithm like this. Another variant of that is you can do something that's kind of along the lines of this. The last and final edge swapping around case that you have to do is that you don't switch them in a cross pattern, but you also don't have an extra solved face. When you see that, you notice that you have to put this edge here, and this edge here, this edge here, and this edge here. When you do that, you do an algorithm that's also similar to the last one I showed you. It goes like this. And there is my tutorial for getting faster at the Rubiks Cube. I also wanted to include some extra helpful things that you could probably note when also solving this. Try learning these things called finger tricks. The first one I'll show you is very similar to the ones in some algorithms I showed you for the OLL. Next one is very similar to some of the edge swapping things that I showed you for the PLLs. And if you practice on those, you can get really fast. I'm not incredibly fast, but I can do them. And if you're wondering on what kind of cube this is a 55mm Dayan Zhanchi, stickerless too. This is not competition legal. If you're wanting to go to a competition, do not get this unless you want to do what Crazy Bad Cuber did and dyed it black and then put stickers on it. If you want to do that, that's your idea, not mine. I don't really mind what you do, just as long as you can turn this thing into a competition legal cube. I am not against that. That is completely your idea. This, I'm not going to be using in competitions. I'm going to order my own DIY Zhanchi, not a Panchi, or Dayan 7 or Dayan 8 or whatever came out when you're watching this video. So, basically that's all for Fridrich, 2-look OLL, 2-look PLL. Also, if you want to go out exploring, I'm going to tell you a few methods that you can look up. You can look up Petrus Fridrich, which I've almost taught you. You can look up Petrus, you can look up Fridrich, you can look up ZB, you can look up ZZ, you can look up NGLS, you can look up Ortega, you can look up Waterman. There's a lot of methods out there. There's also like corners only algorithms. Corner only steps to solving it, like you solve all the corners first, then you do all the edges. There's a whole kind of stuff out there. If I wanted to mention any more, I could say COLL, EGSS, CLL, ELL, F2LL, Rubiks, whatever it's called. There's so many variants to solving this cube. And if you want to, you can go out and start experimenting with methods, see which one you're better at. And that's completely up to you. So, I really hope I helped you trying to get faster with the Rubiks Cube. I will see you in my next video.